Hey y'all, this is Krista from Magnolia Ridge Farm and Gardens, and this is week 3 of the Pantry Challenge. I am going to go over a few things that I made this week, and I'll link a few things as well. You will have to forgive me because this is the first day we've had a chance to get outside. So even though there's still snow on the ground, the sun was out, so we started working on the greenhouse because we had a storm tear it up. So we're rebuilding and changing the design a little bit. So we were working on that. I was mostly cleaning up the trash from around it that had gotten blown out of it. And my husband was taking the one sidewall down. And then I was messing around in the garden because I can't resist being out in the garden and, cleaning up and taking old vines off trellises, just things like that. So I called it chill. I'm actually really cold. So I'm sitting here with a sweater on and some hot coffee, and I'm going to try to edit this video really quick and get it up today. So let's go through what we did for the week. And I did not do the greatest this week. We actually did have a couple occasions where we ate out. And it was, and these are the things that we really need to stop, just because we get busy and we're out running around trying to get things done, and we know it's going to be late when we get home, and so we'll just pick something up. One of the things that I have really got to get out of the habit of, and that is not being prepared ahead of time, because we have all this food, and that's been one of my downfalls. So I slipped up this week. And my weight reflected that because I gained a little bit back. So whatever, it is what it is. On to a better week this week. But Monday we started off good. And I am just going to let this play through. I've already edited the clips so I can actually match up here. So Monday we had beef and broccoli. So I used beef stew from downstairs and just cooked it in some water until it's super tender, and I roasted some broccoli in the oven with salt and pepper and olive oil. And then once the beef was done, I put the broccoli in it, and I think I had some onion, garlic powder, and Worcestershire, and some soy sauce, a little teriyaki sauce. And then I added some of our honey to give it a tad bit of a sweet glaze to it. I didn't have a whole lot of honey left in that jar. And then I topped it with some sesame seeds that I had in the pantry. And you heard the microwave going off, which was some rice. And so I just served it over rice, and that was dinner. Beef, Chinese style beef and broccoli over rice. And then Tuesday night, I actually made meatloaf. So I took greens from the garden. This was the last greens that I had harvested. They needed to be fixed. So I cleaned them and put them in a big pot to boil. And then I peeled some potatoes from the basement storage. And then I started making meatloaf, which was breadcrumbs, an egg, and breadcrumbs was one of the things in my pantry that I needed to use up. So I was able to use some with this recipe, but 2 packages of meat from the older freezer. Eggs, seasonings, breadcrumbs. I think that was it. I will link the recipe that I used below, because I did go for a very traditional meatloaf, and it was 1.5 pounds of meat. And then and onions. There was raw onion in there. And then you lightly spray the meatloaf pan, or the loaf pan, I should say. It can be any kind of loaf pan. And put your meatloaf in there. Some recipes will tell you to put pieces of bread on the bottom, or if you have a meatloaf pan that actually has a tray, so the grease collects in the bottom and under the tray, or the bread absorbs the grease. And I've tried that before and it helps a little bit. This one was not overly greasy. I mean, there was obviously some grease, but it was not nearly as greasy as some are made, especially from store-bought beef. This cow was not that fatty. So here I'm doing the sauce for the top. And it is prepared mustard, ketchup, and brown sugar. And I was having trouble getting the brown sugar top off. It's one of those airtight lid things. And this was a dark brown sugar. And I think that's all the brown sugar I have. So I've got a couple recipes coming up that I'm going to use brown sugar for. So if I run out, I may actually have to make some homemade brown sugar, which I think is just molasses and white sugar, which I have both of those things. And I obviously do not measure anything. You spread your sauce on top of the meatloaf. Spread it out evenly. It's been a long time since I've actually made meatloaf, and it was really good. The kids enjoyed it. I need to add that back into our rotation. Before we had kids, I actually made it quite a bit. And so here it is. I had some fresh bread that I toasted with garlic powder and bread, and then the turnip greens, a little bit of meatloaf for me, and fried okra from the freezer downstairs, and the mashed potatoes from the potatoes I peeled. And that was dinner on Tuesday. Wednesday was the night that I am out with the kids, and so I was with my daughter at dance, and so Stephen cooked dinner, and he made tomato soup from cans from the pantry and grilled cheese sandwiches. So that was the last of our store-bought bread, and that was, I don't think it's the last of our tomato soups in cans, because we actually have been eating my homemade tomato soup. So the cans have just been sitting in the pantry, but we are out of my homemade tomato soup, which next year I know I need to make a lot more of that with the summer harvests, because it went fast. So Thursday we picked up dinner, and I felt terrible about it, and it really wasn't good. Like, that's the thing, is you get in these habits, and you just go and you grab something, and then you eat it, and you don't even feel good after you eat it. And then it's like, it was not worth the weight gain. It was not worth the just nastiness that I put in my body, and yet we did it anyway. So I feel like a failure on that aspect. But Friday we were back on it. Of course, I was making chicken soup for my sick friends and taking it and delivering it. So I made another pot for us. So I will link that there, which will be the full chicken soup recipe. It's the same one I made last week, but I did a more in-depth video on it. And then Saturday, it was leftover chicken soup. So I really didn't make a ton of things this week. Not anything really new. The beef and broccoli, I've made once or twice before. The meatloaf was new. And other than that was pretty much it. So not an overly crazy week. We had plenty of leftovers for lunches. The kids were home this week because of weather, so I wasn't having to pack school lunches. They do go back tomorrow, so I'm gonna they've been home basically this entire pantry challenge due to either sickness or weather. So I'm gonna actually have to start packing lunches this week. So this is gonna throw a curveball because we've just been letting them graze and eat leftovers and cereal and, you know, zucchini bread and kava, stuff like that for breakfast and lunch. So now I've got to get back into my routine. So stay tuned for week 4 of the pantry challenge because that's going to be interesting now that they're going back to school. So anyway, that is it for the pantry challenge. I will do a quick update on my freezer here because I went downstairs on the way in to do this video and to grab some peaches out. And I actually had such a noticeable difference in the old freezer that I did a quick little video. So I'm going to insert that here. All right, y'all ready for this? We are 3 weeks into the pantry challenge. Here is the old freezer. Let's see what we've done. Okay. So there was nothing up here. Remember, at least I don't think there is. If there is, it is long since iced over. But this second shelf is now cleared off. And what we have left, you can actually see it's a lot thinner down here. Got a little space down there. This is actually the okra that was up there. I had cleared that spot, so I moved it down. I got choked up on that. And and then I put my sausage in here, so that spot had been cleared out. But it is getting there. I still have some vegetable packs that are freezer burnt behind this that I will give to the chickens, but I have been thawing them out 4 or 5 packs at a time and taking them out there every few days rather than doing it all at once. Okay, so that was a quick look at the freezer and what we had for the week. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope maybe you got some ideas. Try the beef and broccoli. It's super easy. You can find all kinds of recipes online to do it. I have done one recipe and I will see if I can find it, but it's where you do it in the crock pot. And that one was really good. The one I did Monday, I just winged it. But the meatloaf I will link below, and I already linked the chicken soup video, but I'll link it again at the end screen. So anyway, y'all have a good week. And if you have not started the pantry challenge, just start at any time. I will link 3 Rivers Homestead so you can go check out the video where she talks about it, and check out the hashtag for 3 Rivers Challenge, and check out everyone that's doing the pantry challenge. They're doing a great job. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.